You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, House Democrats approved a significant expansion of labor rights with the Protecting the Right to Organize, or called the PRO Act. The bill would protect workers who want to form a union from retaliation or firing, strengthen the government's power to punish employers who violate workers' rights, and outlaw mandatory meetings that employers often use to try to squash an organizing drive. It would also make it harder for companies like Uber and Lyft to classify workers as independent contractors. The measure is, of course, opposed by Republicans. They have not supported anything, frankly, the Democrats have put forth. This is all about the American worker. But here's what's interesting about that. I thought Republicans said that they were the party of the working class. That's sort of wrong. My panel is A. Scott Bolden, former chair of National Bar Association Political Action Committee, Robert Patillo, executive director, Rainbow Push Coalition Peachtree Street Project, Monique Presley, legal analyst and crisis manager. In a moment, we'll be talking with Lee Saunders, who's the president of AFSCME, the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees. So, folks, let me know when we have Lee on the show. This is a huge bill, Robert, because, again, you have President Joe Biden, who came out strongly in support of this, pushing what this would mean for labor unions. You see what's happening in Bessemer, Alabama, where you have Amazon workers trying to unionize there as well. And this is a moment where, if you're Democrats, how are you going to reward, frankly, your biggest constituency, the folks who pour millions into campaigns every year? This is going to put pressure on those Democrats in the Senate to actually break the filibuster to pass this.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And I think what we're seeing is, as we are having this debate about the $15 an hour minimum wage, well, that wouldn't be as pressing if we actually had labor and organizing rights in this country so workers could collectively bargain for better wages. What if you could unionize McDonald's workers? What if you could unionize Walmart workers? Then the federal government would not step in. And it's interesting to me that the Republicans who at CPAC decided to try to cast themselves as the new party of the working class, the party of, as Ted Cruz said, truck drivers and people who work with their hands, are still opposing every effort to increase wages, to increase negotiating power, to increase health care benefits and pensions that really built the middle class in this country. And we have to understand that people need to put their money where their mouth is when it comes to legislating, and push through legislation that will help give workers more rights vis-a-vis these multinational corporations who currently control everything in our political system.
I really did crack up, Monique, when I heard Republicans throw out, "We're the party of the working class." I'm sorry. Which part of the Chamber of Commerce put their money behind? The GOP and not the Democrats. And this, to me, is where, if you're a Democrat, your response should be, you're out of your damn mind, and we're going to show you how you're not the party of the working class.
And they've been shown, the country has been shown that that's not their party. They just are homeless and in an identity crisis and trying to find some place to land where they can stand for something or anything at this time other than the former president. And he stood for nothing. He was, just an amoral lunatic. So they have no place to be, and they're grasping at straws. But it's quite obvious from the history of the parties, if you're looking at least the past 75 years, that is not who they are, and saying it out their mouths won't make it true now.
But Scott, they are correct in terms of what they've been able to do, but they've been appealing to the white working class for a different reason. They've been pushing their buttons on immigration. They pushed their buttons on NAFTA. They pushed their buttons on race. And so the problem is, when you have folks in the media who don't know how to make the distinction when they talk about the working class voter, those working class voters are not voting on working class issues, economic issues. They're voting on race. They're voting on cultural issues. They're voting on those type of things.
And they're voting on the big lie. And they're listening to white Republicans who don't have their best interests at heart, but they're angry voters. They're angry because they believe that they're losing their country. They believe that they're losing it to immigration. They believe that they're losing it by 2043. And so this is the bigger lie, if you will. They get mad about entitlement, but you and I both know the top 10 states who get the greatest entitlements from the government are 10 red states in the South. And so it's always interesting. How do you convince poor white working Americans that the Democratic Party is a better party for them, and that they're speaking, the Democrats are speaking to them, just not special interest groups or people of color? How do you do that? Because the Republicans keep convincing them to be mad about those race and color issues, right? But the reality is that the Republicans are killing those white working class voters on the economy with their policies. It's going to be a big challenge for the Democrats to do that. Maybe it doesn't get done, but that's the bigger lie, if you will, if you're not in the presidential race.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.